Hello, so this week in Module 2, our prompts are there positives and negatives to groupthink, and have you experienced groupthink? So in our text, we are given on page 204 and 206, we are given some examples of groupthink. Let's discuss first what groupthink is. So groupthink is a problem-solving process in which proposals are accepted without a critical, careful review of the pros and cons of the alternatives, and in which considerable social pressure is brought to bear against those expressing opposing points of view. Groupthink occurs partially because the norms of the group hold that it is more important to bolster group morale than to evaluate all alternatives critically. Now, while groupthink can bond a group closer together and make a tighter knit group, it also has its downfalls. So the illusion caused by groupthink can push a group to feel that they are invulnerable. Now, while this can be helpful and help them to be more open in group, it can also lead them to be overly optimistic, which is not good. It leads them to take extraordinary risk and cause them to fail to respond to clear warnings of danger. And we're told that on page 204 of our text. Members of an unquestioning belief in the moral lightness of their group, which leads them to ignore the ethical consequences of their decisions. So if they have a thought process that they are rolling with, if they have a solution that they're going with, they're not going to necessarily look at what the ethical implication of that is. If they are affecting someone else with their decision or with their way of thinking, and they are only focused on the group concept and upon a self concept. So the group applies social pressure to display disapproval toward any member who momentarily questions the basic policies. So this becomes more of a bullying situation, but it also plays into the fact that someone is not going to want to step forward and tell how they feel about something, or, if there is an ethical dilemma there that they are having with a decision that they have made as a group. Group members hold stereotyped views of the leaders of opposing groups. Opposing group leaders are viewed either as so evil that it would be a mistake to try to negotiate differences, or so stupid or so weak as they will not be able to prevent this group from attaining their objectives. Now, the stereotyped views, of course, that is an ethical implication as well. But that is not going to be viewed that way, because they see things for their own gains at that point. This can also cause an issue if you have someone from another group trying to come in to gain something from this group or to add something to this group. They're not necessarily going to fit in really well, and their ideas are not going to be perceived as being helpful or needed, due to the preconceived notions of weakness or stupidity, or the other group being evil. So members sometimes assume mind guards, where they attempt to protect the leader and the group from negative information that might lead them to question the morality and effectiveness of past decisions. So that would be like, what I was discussing with, someone from another group or something coming in. The members believe practically everyone in the group fully agrees on the policies and programs of the group. So they're not really going to look at, does everyone agree? They're just going to go ahead and assume that everyone agrees. Have I ever experienced group thinking? So yes, in high school especially, like when we had to do groups where we would gather together and compete against other groups. All of a sudden we took on the mind of, our group was superior, our ways of thinking were superior, and we all kind of gathered together and made a decision upon what we saw for the outcome of the group. And if someone inside that group did not agree with it, then you could see kind of the trickle down of the agitation from the majority of the group to that individual.